Chapter 1. Bonnie Hartwright. On an oppressively hot Arizona night 3 centuries later, a troubled moan escaped the lips of a 15-year-old girl in the midst of a fitful sleep. A single bead of sweat trickled down her cheek and stopped at the silver hoop that pierced her nostril. She was in the throes of that nightmare again, where her head was being violently forced underwater. She could never see the face of her tormentor in the dream. All she knew was that a hand kept pushing as she struggled for air. And on that hand, a ring. It had 2 tiny, ruby-eyed golden skulls connected to an hourglass in the middle. The sand inside moving upward, defying gravity. Just as her lungs felt as though they would burst, she awoke with a start and a scream. Her scream was muffled by a large hand clamped down on her mouth. "Shut up, Bonnie, for crying out loud." The voice belonged to Clint Runkle, her paunch-bellied foster father. And while he did have his hand over her mouth, he wasn't sporting a skull ring, and he certainly wasn't trying to drown her. In fact, sitting in the cab of Clint's pickup parked in the middle of a run-down Tucson subdivision, she couldn't have been further from drowning. "Get away from me, creep," Bonnie snarled, shoving his hand away. "Keep your voice down," Clint hissed. "You were having another of your damn nightmares. You didn't take your meds again, did you? Jesus, Bonnie, you're gonna blow this job." He pointed across the street to a dumpy house with a mint '69 Chevy Camaro in the driveway. "They still up?" Bonnie asked, rubbing her eyes. "What are they, vampires in addition to being deadbeats?" "Meth heads, more like it. Gonna be a long night," Clint said, lighting another cigarette. "Screw that noise. I say the party's over now." Bonnie grabbed her tools and opened the truck door. Clint grabbed her arm. "You nuts? You go in now, that crowd. You'll end up with a gun in your face." "Like you give a rip what happens to me." She slammed the door and headed toward the vehicle Clint had been contracted to repossess. With time-tested expertise, it took Bonnie less than a minute to get into the Camaro, and even less than that to get it started. Despite the blaring alarm, she was soon speeding backwards out of the driveway before the car's owners were out of the house. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" yelled one, chasing after her, waving a pistol over his head. "Next time, make your payments, loser," Bonnie shouted as she fishtailed around a corner at 60 miles an hour. "I'm so frickin' good," she shouted, the adrenaline pumping through her veins. And in that moment, she forgot all about the horrible dreams and every other crap thing in her life. She just felt alive. Very, very alive. In fact, Bonnie felt most alive in moments like this, whenever she acted out, as the shrinks called it. Every time she shoplifted a bottle of shampoo because the Krokles were too lazy to go to the drugstore. Every time she punched a kid who mouthed off to her, or slashed the tires of some jerk who'd parked in a handicap zone. She felt this thrill run through her body, as if not only were these things not wrong, but they were exactly what Bonnie was meant to do. Screw the dreams and the meds, she thought. But like every high, the feeling didn't last. Bonnie had returned to Earth by the time she pulled into the driveway of the house she shared with Clint Krokle, his wife Jackie, and the 6 other kids the state paid them to care for. The sun was up now, and there was no time to catch a cat nap or shower before school, so she headed right to her room to change clothes. After settling on a pair of ripped jeans and a t-shirt, she put back on her black biker boots with chains across the front. She brushed her dark, curly hair behind her ears, revealing multiple piercings that made her single nose piercing look lonely in comparison. And then she topped it all off with a beat-up Pittsburgh Pirates cap that had struck her fancy at the Goodwill. She stood a moment, dark eyes flecked with gray, checking her reflection in the mirror. Then, satisfied, she headed toward the kitchen for breakfast.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.